This class today is about building your brand in real estate and digital marketing and using social media to help you generate leads. And I kind of wanted to start off by putting things into a bigger perspective. I think that we get so caught up in the day-to-day of our work. We're just constantly, going to showings and helping clients out and stuff. I feel like it's easy to get lost of like the true like purpose of what you do for your clients. And that is something that I learned from working with other people across different industries, which is you guys help make dreams come true. And I think that's something that we don't really think about too often since we're just constantly working. But you guys really help people achieve big milestone goals in their lives. You're that one person that's standing between them and achieving that goal, and you're the one that's making it happen. So I just wanted to put into perspective that you guys are dream weavers. So, and I'm sorry, my big head is blocking this way, but move this over here. I'm just gonna hold it. So you're not just selling houses, you're helping people realize their dreams, whether it's a young couple who's just getting started in life and they're trying to find this place to begin their life, or if you're helping even like an investor, like make their next big milestone purchase, like that's gonna get them a lot of money. You're making major milestones happen. So keep that in mind. I think it's really important to put that into perspective so that whenever you kind of feel like you're burning out on your day-to-day work, you're like, man, I'm serving a greater purpose to my clients. All right. So why does branding matter? I feel like a lot of people don't really understand the concept of branding and why it matters in marketing. The reason that it matters is that it's the combination of everything about you. It's going to be your face. It's going to be your actions. It's going to be your values, your strengths, your reputation, and your values. So you want to build a brand so that people can connect with you and trust you. Just like you have brands that you trust across different things, whether it's clothing, makeup, or cars, or whatever you're into, people are going to associate your face and your name with your brand. So you got to build a strong brand. And how do you do that? Well, let's understand what the components of a brand are. You got your visuals. Visuals is going to be your real estate photos, your social media page, the posts that you put, your stories. Tone is going to be the way that you word things, the way that you talk, the way that you say things, whether it's your sense of humor or if you have a more like by the numbers, more like, what's the word? I guess more business attitude. Like, we're just talking about numbers. That's your tone. Your reputation is going to be, of course, like your reviews, testimonials, things that people say about you. And presence is going to be where can people find you? Can they find you on Instagram? Can they find you on HAR or wherever you're present, wherever your brand is present? And then values. And values is going to be things like, I know some realtors, for example, and that don't want to, like, for example, they don't cuss on their page. Like they keep it strictly professional, So that's always like one thing that I was like to say. Like some people don't mind putting like, bad words in their songs and stuff on their page, and some are like, no, I want to have like my values say like, no, I don't want that. I prioritize customer service. I prioritize looking professional. That's going to be your values. The combination of all of these things is what's going to build up your brand. And whenever you have that strong brand, you're going to have loyalty, you're going to have trust and credibility. And you're going to be top of mind for people who are going to start. That's how you get like that word of mouth referrals. That's essentially like comes from building your brand. People are going to be advocating for you forever. Like, as long as you're doing good by them, they're going to keep bringing you business. Did you have any questions? Okay. So there's a ton of realtors in Houston, a ton of realtors everywhere. How do you guys stand out? That's probably a question that I get a lot. And the answer to that is by being authentic is like really essentially what this boils down to. But more specifically, it's finding your unique selling points. So what is it about you that makes you different from everybody else? And it's not just from like your real estate skills. That is a part of it. For example, some of you guys might be really good at relocation or like new construction or investment properties. That could be your thing. If you're good at it, and people know you for that, you want to lean into that. But it's more than just that. It's also your personality. It could be things that you're into. Like I know a lot of realtors who utilize their hobbies on their page and in their social media presence and tie it in so that people remember them, or they can attract leads off of people who share similar hobbies and interests. So whenever you identify what makes you stand out, even if it's speaking another language, if you're bilingual, trilingual, That's a big selling point. That's a whole other group of people you could cater to that other people can't. So these combination of characteristics is going to help you identify what makes you different and how you can stand out. Excuse me. All right. So this is something that I always have to talk. It's across any industry. This is a universal thing that I see a lot of people either they nail it or they mess it up. Most of the time, whenever you ask somebody, who's your ideal client? And they're like, man, anybody that's got money, like I'm trying to sell a house to anyone, That's the most common answer, but it's wrong. And it's wrong because you should try to niche down, always. And I told this to restaurants all the time that I used to work with in the past. You got to find your niche. Like, there's a reason why some of the most successful restaurants have like 4 items on their menu or 5 items on their menu, and they do really good at it, and they keep growing. Specialization is really important. And so I want you to stop and think about like, what can I focus on specifically in real estate that I'm good at, that people know me for, that they trust me for? What kind of leads am I attracting that are like, how can I identify them? Like, are they families? Are they investors? Are they relocating from other states? How can I target them? Because if you specialize and you niche down into one particular aspect of real estate, you focus on that and you center your messaging and your content around that, people are going to trust you more, and you're going to attract a lot more clients that way rather than trying to just do anything and be like, I'm trying to sell anything to anybody, and people are not really going to remember you for anything, because if you're trying to do everything, you're just not going to be memorable. Whereas if I was a new construction specialist and I constantly am posting on social media like, hey, I do new construction, all my content is centered around that, people are going to remember you. They're like, oh yeah, he does new construction. I want to hit him up. I trust him, So specialize, don't generalize. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. You look at Apple, you look at the Cheesecake Factory, and those guys are all doing a million different things, but they all started out doing one thing. Once you become a massive brand, then you can look into expanding. All right. So a part of this class is just kind of getting your mentality into like, I'm a brand. No matter how big or how small, how experienced I am as an agent, or how long I've been doing this, or how long I've been on social media, you are a brand. So I want you to look at yourself as a business. And I want you to look at yourself as a business in like in a more bigger picture kind of way. So, and again, so there's also a universal aspect that across industries. And I feel like in my experience dealing with people in the past and other businesses, this can make or break somebody. And it's this: how do you look at marketing? Like, if you were to ask yourself, like, if you hear marketing, like, oh, I got to market myself, what's your first reaction? Are you going to be like, oh man, like, I got to pay out like $500 a month or $1,000 a month or $100 a month, and like, you get bothered by it and you get mad about it? Or do you look at it as an investment? So the way that you look at it, really, and I've seen it happen a lot to a lot of different people, the way you view marketing really helps determine how successful you are in whatever you do, whether it's real estate or anything else. So if you look at it like, I'm investing in myself, this money is going to come back to me in tenfold, and you really, or, of course, you hire a good marketer, you hire someone that can help you do it right, you're going to grow. And it's funny because I've seen like small businesses start out like, putting a little bit of money into marketing, and they're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Then that money comes back, they get more customers, they see new faces, they get all this stuff, they get super excited. I've seen people go from like, hating to spend money on marketing to like being excited, like, yeah, I'm ready, like I'm so excited to go spend this because next month I'm going to get, twice as many customers. Now, of course, that's an extreme example, but the point is like they see growth and they want to encourage growth. So look at marketing as an investment in yourself, and not just marketing, but really anything that you can do to improve yourself, such as upgrading any equipment that you have. If you're taking a class to improve your skills like this one, investing in social media, like listing media, such as listing photos that reflect well on your brand. Having a consistent message that's consistent with, like I said, if you niche down and you're constantly preaching that same message over and over, and you have your branding on point, and having engaging online content, that's an important one. I'll touch on that later. But having engaging content online is what's going to help you grow. Do you have any questions on that? Okay. So I'm going to segue here because I'm going to cover the social media part towards the end, but I did want to touch on listing media because it's a big thing that I feel like a lot of realtors I won't say a lot, I'll say it's probably 50-50 from what I've met. that view it as something extremely important, that they want it to look good, and they'll invest a little bit more to get it looking right, so they recognize the value in it. And then there's some that are just like, okay, I'm gonna get like the cheapest guy, come out, take photos, throw my listing up, and hope for the best. It matters a lot because, like I said, visuals is one of your components of your brand. So when people see your listing photos on the MLS, and let's say, God forbid, you took them yourself on your phone, and people see that and they're like, oh, well, these photos like are not good, you know, like what does that say about the realtor? It reflects badly on you. And on top of that, something really interesting that I've noticed I've been in this business since January of this year. So my business is almost one, but I feel like I've worked with so many people and I've seen so many different things happen that the most consistent thing that I've seen is like when someone does invest in those photos, especially on a listing that's worth it, like, you know, that where it's worth investing that much, the houses tend to sell faster. So you're looking at it from a short term of like, okay, I could spend under $100 for cheap photos. Like you save money there, but then what's the use if it's sitting there on the market for months? Whereas I've had it to where somebody, and I'm going to show you an example later. One of my friends, he's a realtor. He initially did that. He did like the cheap photos first, and then regretted it. It sat on the market for months. Literally had me shoot it, and the next week it sold. So I want you guys to keep that in mind because it makes a big difference. People will look at your photos and be like, oh, okay, that is somebody that I trust. That makes me want to go look at that house. I'm going to also just touch on this a bit, and I'm going to show you some examples because now that I told you that you're aware of like there's levels to photography, to real estate photography, and I'm going to explain it a little bit so you can kind of, next time you're on HAR or whatever you're scrolling, you can kind of tell like, oh, okay, I know what kind of photos this guy got, and you know, are they good, are they not? You have two different kinds, and you have flash photos and HDR photos. And so when people are going on the MLS or HAR, they're scrolling through houses, right? And eventually, like, they all start to look the same. And that's especially true because I've been on HAR, and there's a lot of really bad photos. And sometimes you see that one photo that just looks really good, and people click on it. And that's what you want. You want to be that one where people like scrolling, they see yours like, oh, I'm clicking that. I want to see what that house looks like. I bought my house in 2017. It sat on the market for months, and it was the last house on my list. I didn't even want to look at it. I just had it there because I was desperate. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll look at it if I don't find anything. Sure enough, I couldn't find anything. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go check it out. You know, the photos were terrible on that house, and I was like, whatever. I went in there, I fell in love with the house, and I bought it. And it just had, and I remember back then, that was 2017 that I did this. And I was not a photographer back then. I was not a marketer back then. But I remember thinking about it. I'm like, man, like, if they had taken better photos, I would have looked at this first. And I would have probably bought this a lot sooner. I would have saved a lot of time myself, and the seller could have sold it quicker. So it just kind of goes to show that, like, you want your photos to stand out. Otherwise, it happened with me. Like, it's just gonna sit on the market for a long time. So you have flash and HDR photos. I'm gonna explain what that is in a bit. Flash is like if you see a photographer, he comes into the house, he's got his camera, he doesn't have a tripod, he's got a flash on his camera, he's holding it with his hand, and he's like taking a picture. Flash photos are awesome for portraits. Like if you're getting your picture taken, you want someone to use a flash photo. For houses, it's the worst thing you can do. Like if your photographer does that, automatically know like you're not getting your money's worth. And the reason for that is because the lights are blown out. So you see this is just all white. Blown out means that like all the detail's lost. So you have no detail in the light fixtures, no detail out the windows. I feel like it's extremely important to be able to see what's out the window in every real estate photo if there's a window there. Uneven lighting. So you got like dark spots here. This is like medium lit. This is super bright. Harsh shadows. So again, like these really dark spots. And the lack of detail. Like you look at this photo, it almost looks hazy. I see that a lot. If you look on HDR, like a lot of photos look hazy. They look kind of blurry. That's not what you want. You want something like this. This is an HDR photo. I took this for one of my clients, and this house, again, sold I think in 2 weeks it sold very quickly. Beautiful house, and this screen is not doing it justice, but you can see like the light bulbs. You can see out the windows. You can tell there's like a school back there. You can see the fence. You can see all these details. The lighting is clean and even all the way through. There's no harsh shadows. It's highly, highly detailed. I mean, you can see everything on this. It's such a beautiful photo. And this, I think, is a big factor in why it's sold pretty quick. Did you have any questions about this? All right. So I just wanted to explain, actually. This was an HDR photo, by the way. And if you want to, just for your information, if you want to see, if you want to know if someone's taking one for you, if your photographer has a tripod, no flash on there, usually there's no flash on there. He'll put it on a tripod, he hits the button, and you hear like click, 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 click. That's an HDR photo. That's what you want. I would say that's like industry standard. But again, there is levels to it. There are good HDR photos, there are bad HDR photos. And so this is the example I was telling you about. This is a friend of mine. He listed this house a while ago, sat there for months. This was like the main photo he had on HAR. Sat there forever. He's like, man, bro, please, like, come help me out here. Come give me like the best that you can do. So like, okay, cool. Okay, I came in, I took this one in the evening. I actually had a better one that has a reflection as well. Like usually it's something that I do, people know me for. I put the reflection of the house on there, make it look like the driveway is wet. People see that on HDR, like they're clicking, especially if it's $1 million plus house. This was a $2 million house. They're clicking. And there's also, again, these are both HDR. You know, has like decently even lighting, but, sorry? Did I hear anything?
Somebody else.
Oh, sorry, okay, never mind. So you can see out the window, you can see like some detail. It's relatively evenly lit, but let me zoom in here. Here, you can see everything clearly, and the colors are a lot more accurate. There's like a yellowish, greenish, reddish tint on there. This is like the true color of the wall. It's clear view outside, clear light fixtures. Makes a big difference. So this is going to be touching on what I said earlier. Cutting corners hurts your brand. If you're cutting the wrong corners, like there are some things that you can not invest in as much and like get away with it, just like in any business. But when it comes to real estate photography, you want to invest in pretty good photos so that you can sell that listing faster. So, because time is money. Time, I feel like, is way more important than saving $50 or whatever on photos. Because if you sell that listing faster, you're on to the next one. You know, you're on to the next one, and you just keep it going. This one sat for months. Like I said, it sat for months. Took those photos, sold a week later. He was really happy.
And actually, that happened to me. One of the listings that you took over there.
I was gonna ask you, yeah.
It's been on the market for, well, pretty safe.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years.
Oh wow.
And he took pictures. Literally, I got an offer a week later.
No way, really? That's news to me. Yeah, another beautiful example right there. Yeah. That is awesome. Which one was it?
I think 176.
Oh wow.
They kind of look alike.
That's crazy. Well, there you go. There's a real real testimonial right there.
It was worth it.
Yeah, and that's the point. Is that, you know, I've had people say like, oh, like, you know, his prices are high. Like, you know, he's not worth it. Until they see the photos, and then they're like, oh, like, damn, like maybe he is worth it. And they see the results, and they're like, oh yeah, it's definitely worth it. But that's enough on the photos. Let's get to what y'all really came here for. That's gonna be for social media. And one thing, another concern that I got from realtors about videos, like getting videos done, is the videographer will tell them to act a certain way and to move a certain way and do things a certain way that they normally wouldn't do. Like, I've seen some videos of realtors that I've met in the past, like older videos that they've had, and I'm like, that's you? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, why are you doing all this and acting like that? You know, like, it's not, like, that's not who you are. Like, you know, not, at least from what I can tell, you know, as a first impression. So you got to keep in mind that, like, when people come to see you in person and they're basing their judgment of you off of what's on your page, and you're not that person, they get, even if they don't realize it, in the back of their mind, they're getting kind of like suspicious. So like what? There's like a disconnect here. Like, this isn't the same person. Like, they get kind of, there's a lack of trust that starts to grow. So and I think a lot of realtors are traumatized by it, because like the number one question I get on videos is like, how do I put my hands? What do I do with my hands? And I'm like, dude, chill. Like, whatever your hands do normally, that's all you need to do. You don't got to be all extra and move it around. Like, be yourself. People respect authenticity. That's in any business. Be yourself, and you know, pretend that like you're talking to a customer, like to your ideal client in real life, and like just let that come through in your videos, like really, and your posts. All your content should just be authentically you. I don't think there's any questions about that, but if there are, just let me know. Okay, And this is called Don't Be Shy, Mix It Up. One of the things I noticed when I switched, for me, it's been really interesting because again, I came from hospitality marketing, and so I remember the first week I got on Instagram, I started looking at realtors' profiles, like just to see like what's it like, what's the real estate social media side of Houston look like. A lot of the stuff that I saw is like those, just sold or just listed or for sale or whatever, like all these infographics and flyers and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I don't feel like I don't care. Like if I was a person, like a buyer, potential buyer, none of that means anything to me. And the thing is, like I feel like I'm going to explain this at the end of the class, an example of this. But you want to post a variety of content that is one catered to your ideal client, and I'm going to cover that in a bit. But you also want to put content that's interesting and relevant to them, and that's going to give them some kind of benefit, some kind of tangible benefit, whether it's entertaining, which is not, again, I don't want to prioritize entertaining, but if you do that, at least have something that's going to entertain them. More importantly, you want to inform them, and the most importantly, you want to build trust with them. So you want to showcase yourself, because I feel like a lot of realtors are camera shy, which is understandable. Even I get shy in front of a camera too, and I've been coaching people how to get comfortable in front of a camera for years. It's just normal, but at least have like photos of yourself, have like a behind the scenes look of your life, not saying showcase your personal life and all that, but little glimpses, like to just let people understand what kind of person are you, who are you, what are you interested in? Because you want people to click with you and kind of immediately like just go on your page and understand, okay, I get a rough idea of who this person is, and I think I want to approach them. Mix it up. Don't rely on infographics and things like that and for sale signs. My advice is, if you do put like a for sale or for rent, or like more importantly like sold, for example, I want you to be able to tell a story. Like tell people about like the experience that you had with that client. Like, why should I care that you sold this house? What lesson is there to be learned here? Did you have, like, for example, yesterday I did a video with one of my clients. She told me that, and then her customers wanted to do a testimonial for her. Like they were like offering to do it because she helped relocate them from out of the state. And they were just so blown away by her because she did something simple as like sending them a list of different school districts and like coffee shops and grocery stores in different areas of town, different parts of town, along with like, details about crime rate, whatever, because their family, they're trying to relocate, they don't know Houston very well. And that was like the one thing that stuck out to them. Like, oh, like she went above and beyond, and she like gave us like this whole list that had all these different details about the different neighborhoods that we're looking at. And we really felt so comfortable with her, and she made the whole thing so easy for us. If you tell a story like that, people love stories on social media. Even you might not realize it, but you yourself love stories on social media. No matter what your interests are, if you're scrolling through something and you see a story and it's catching your attention, that's what you want for your page. At the end of the day, people connect with people and people buy from people. So don't just hide your face and put a bunch of charts and graphs and photos on your page. Okay, this is another, I feel like this is extremely important as well. You need to know who your audience is. So let's say that you decided that you want to focus on, or maybe you need help trying to focus on like a specific niche of real estate. You don't know, like, oh, should I do new construction? Should I do relocation? Should I do investment properties? I don't know what I should do. Well, if you already have a page, or if you've been doing real estate for a little while, you would have built up a list of leads that you've had. You can go through your followers and see like what kind of people are following me. Am I getting a lot of families following me? Am I getting a lot of investors following me? Am I getting, like, you got to look at all these different things, because what ends up happening is I've seen people who have thousands of followers, but they post something, it gets like 5 likes, 6 likes, like barely any engagement. And I think a part of that is, if the content is good and it's still not getting attention, it's because you're not targeting your followers. You're not targeting people who are already coming to you, who are already interested in you. So let's say that, you keep doing new construction, but most of your followers are investors and you didn't even realize that. They're gonna not care. Like, okay, I don't care about new construction, I'm trying to flip and make money. But once you do this and you go and identify who your audience is, and you know what kind of people are following you, what kind of people are majority like your past leads, you go through all this data that you've built up over the years or months or even weeks, you kind of have an idea of like, okay, cool, like I'm attracting a lot of these type of people. Now I'm going to post content that they're going to be interested in, that they're going to want to engage in, that's going to capture their attention and build their trust in me to help deliver. So, like I said, if you work like, let's say that you do have all those investors, you could focus on like potential, I forgot what the acronym is. Is it like AGR, AGV? I forgot, like the average return on an investment on a potential flip. Off-market deals, like I see some realtors that have like an email list. Sign up for my email list. I'm gonna send you like off-market properties. You want to tailor your message to them. If it's families, you want to start sending data about, and I feel like this is super important for families because this happened to me as well. When I bought my house, I was not looking at like the stuff that you would think that the average realtor thinks like a person is looking for. Me, all I wanted was to be 5 minutes away from an HEB. That was literally it. I swear to God, I was like, this is like top priority for me. Like, I want to be 5 minutes from an HEB. I lived in an apartment complex before that. I hated driving 15 minutes and getting stuck in traffic sometimes and coming back. I was like, I want 5 minutes from an HEB. Then I was like, I want a coffee shop nearby. Like, I want to live next to a good coffee shop. These are things I feel like realtors don't focus on enough, or not enough realtors focus on, but it's so important because you're not just selling a box with windows and doors. You're selling the whole community, you're selling the location, you're selling the area, and everything that entails. So if your house, if you have a house, like maybe it's not like the prettiest house and it's not like the best house, how do you market it? Well, look at the area. And I've been tasked with that before. There's a house in Aliana. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's out in Sugar Land. The house was okay, but the owners before kind of trashed it and it was like super cluttered. And even after we tried to clean it up and take photos, like it still wasn't the best. And the broker was pressuring the realtor at the time. She had just switched to that brokerage. They're like, you need to make a video about this house and we got to get it sold. And she's coming up to me. She's like, what do I do? I'm like, well, where is it? She's like, Aliana. I'm like, that's your ticket right there. I'm like, we don't got to focus on the house too much. Let's talk about the area. Let's talk about how you can go to Ross in like 5 minutes. You can go to Target in 5 minutes. Like everything is around you there. You have like 5, 6 coffee shops. You got all these restaurants. Definitely something to think about. Sorry, I got sidetracked there, but I feel like it's so important to focus on local amenities and all the points of interest nearby. Take a good look at your Instagram bio today if you can, and just take these points into consideration. The number one thing a lot of realtors that I've seen do wrong, thankfully I've seen it less often these days, but I remember back in like January of this year, I saw it all the time. So many realtors did not put the city that they work in. So many did not. Not in their username, not in their bio. It was extremely difficult to tell what city you're in. And I feel like that is so super duper. If you take nothing away from this class, put your city in your bio or your name or something. Like let people know that you're in Houston. If nothing else, because the thing is, Instagram is like a search engine. It's literally like Google. Like you type in Houston Realtor, you want to pop up, or if you're like, let's say in the Woodlands or Conroe or wherever, like you want people to search the city that you're focused on and have you pop up. So if you don't mention the city, you don't have a call to action. Like I put myself as an example here, but like, something as simple as like DM to get started or click the link in my bio or whatever. Like you want to always have a call to action in the like the last part of your bio. I also identify USP. So for me, I put like I'm fluent in Arabic and English. For you could put whether what you focus on. Like I said, I'm gonna keep mentioning this over and over again. New construction specialist or I think I've seen like negotiation expert is like a thing, like a title that you can actually get. That's pretty cool. Put that stuff there. I made sure to I do this with Sunbird visuals too. Like I put, this is not what it says here, but I put like, for example, Rami Real Estate Agent, Houston, Texas. I put that, this is called your, I think it's called the title. If you go to profile, you can put your title. So this is what people see whenever you click on their story. You click on their story, it'll say instead of your username, I think it'll usually put this whole line there instead. You want that because if you're clicking on a potential, maybe like you find an investor that you're trying to, get them to trust you or to work with you. If you click it through their stories and they just glance at your name, it's like, oh, realtor, real estate, investment property expert or something, Houston, Texas. You're going to catch their eye a little bit quicker. So, don't do a MySpace selfie for your profile picture. Get a professional headshot. You tell me y'all are too young for MySpace. But yeah, make sure that treat this like a business card. That's literally what this is. Your bio on your Instagram is basically a business card. So you just want to put like the highlights about you right here. Nothing irrelevant. Don't put your personal life, all this stuff on here. Focus on business right here. This is how I would do your bio. Any questions? All right, cool. All right, so engagement is king. What that means is that I do all kinds of experiments on my page. Like I'm always trying stuff to see, you know, what works and what doesn't work and just studying things. But one of the most important things that I've noticed is Instagram will rewards people who engage with other accounts. You engage with your DMs. A lot of realtors have an inbox that's full of 100 unopened DMs. Respond to your comments, respond to your DMs, and if you can, try to respond, and again, I know it's a tall order, but try to respond with something substantial, if you can. A lot of us, you know, are guilty of doing like the fire emojis as a response or whatever. I do it all the time, you know. We'll respond like that, but if you can really say something, that's gonna help you get boosted up on the algorithm. And I always suggest if you're gonna do a post, you're about to post something, engage with accounts 30 minutes before, during, and 30 minutes after if you can, with other accounts. Just like people's stuff, comment, share. This helps you get boosted up on Instagram. One other thing is hashtags these days are not as important as they used to be. What's going on now is that Instagram uses they have like natural keywords. And what that means is it's the caption you write itself. They're not going to focus as much on hashtags as they are like the content of your caption. So make sure that your caption, what I always say is like target, right? I would start almost every caption with your target audience. You know, like I'd be like, hey, investors, you know, check this out. And then like you start talking about whatever you want to talk about. Me, whenever I post as a real estate photographer, almost all of my posts start with realtors. You know, Houston realtors, Houston realtors, Houston realtors. It's gonna help you get boosted up when people search. Again, it's like a search engine. So whenever people are searching for whatever you're typing about, whatever topic you're covering in your post, it's gonna show up over everybody else's. Oh, and one last thing. Don't, on hashtags, use like five, six. Don't overdo it. A long time ago, what we used to do was like hashtag stuffing, which was like 50, 60 hashtags like at the very bottom. That flags you as spam these days. Don't do that. Oh man, okay. This is a good one. So I myself, because I used to manage 20 social media accounts when I had my hospitality marketing company. Doing that kind of got me into a habit of posting every single day. And it's for me now, it's a cakewalk because I'm just doing my account. I'm not doing 19 other accounts. But this is like one of the most important things here. Being consistent in your posts, in your stories, is the best thing you can do for yourself. Literally the best thing. Because the algorithm prioritizes it. Second of all, this always keeps you top of mind. Always. I've met people, actually just the other day, I went to a networking event with realtors that I've known on social media forever, but I never met them in person. The first thing they say to me is like, man, I feel like I know you because I see you every day. And I'm like, that's because I post every day, you know? And I'm authentic. So if you're authentic and you're posting every day, people come meet you in person. It's like they've known you forever. And what that does is so valuable. I actually made a video about this the other day. You start going from like, you know the difference between like a cold lead and a hot lead, right? Like you turn what would have been a cold lead into a warm lead. Like you already broke down that ice barrier that you normally get with strangers. They're already disarmed. They're comfortable. They want to talk to you. There's already like a bit of trust there. Extremely valuable. Now, one potential negative thing, and to me, it's worth the trade-off. Some people get annoyed. I've had people unfollow me because I do post a lot of stories. They'll unfollow me and I'm like, that's cool. That's totally worth it. They weren't meant for me. So don't worry about annoying people. If that's one of your concerns, post every day. At least if you want minimum specs, minimum suggestion, one daily story, minimum. It could be anything, not anything, but like try to post something relevant to your audience. It could be something simple like, a day in your life, what you're doing today. It could be something that's more targeted and, that has like an objective to get people to DM you. It could be whatever, but do one story a day. And then at least, if I had to tell you, like the bare minimum, every 3 days, every 3 to 4 days, do a post or a carousel or a reel. If you do that and you're consistent with it, you'll grow. I've grown my page from 0. I started off January 1st, 0. I just hit 1,000 like a couple days ago. 1,000 followers, and most of my followers are targeted followers. So like most of my followers are realtors, are people that I want to follow me, like not just a bunch of random accounts. And I stay on top of mind. Like some days you'll be posting stuff and people won't respond to you and you'll get no engagement and you'll get a little bit discouraged. But like such as like one thing that I'll do sometimes is like, hey, you know, ask me a question, or who's ready to get started, you know, on their next photo session or whatever. So often people won't say anything, but then sometimes I'll post it and some of my biggest leads come in and like they're like, oh yeah, like I see you, like I want to work with you. So be consistent, don't get discouraged, stay consistent. Trust me, it works. All right, any questions about that before I talk about this topic? Okay, guys, whenever I made this slide, by the way, this was during the whole demure trend. Everyone's like, oh, you know, oh, very demure, very demure. I hated it. I got sick of it, to be honest with you guys. So here's the thing. I love memes. On a personal level, I'm a big meme guy, love them to death. But when it comes to a business, I feel like you gotta really think about what you're doing and how often you're doing it. Because as soon as a trend comes, some people make that whole trend their entire personality for like 2-3 months until it dies out. And it gets annoying and it doesn't really help you that much. So if you are gonna be on a trend, if you're gonna hop on a meme, make sure one, it aligns with your values, it aligns with your brand. You don't wanna be posting stuff that's like way too off, like some memes can get really weird and really vulgar. Like make sure whatever you're posting is in alignment with your values and with your brand. And you can use them in your content. I'm not telling you don't rely on memes, like don't post any, but don't overly rely on them because they should be supporting you and supporting your brand, not dominating your brand. You don't want to just be like the entire meme page of like, you know, Houston Realtors. Just put them in once in a while, you should be okay. Oh, don't be the last one. Don't be the guy at the very end of like, I still see some people doing the demure thing. I'm like, bro, it's gone, like stop, leave it be. Don't be the last one. You're gonna look out of touch. You're gonna look outdated. Like, focus on being a trendsetter. Man, I've seen some realtors do some stuff that's like super unique and super out there and people start copying them. That's how you really dominate social media. Like, focus on what you can do differently that's also on brand. Any questions? Okay. All right, this one, I post about this almost every day on my work page. And I posted a video about it that I think rubbed some people the wrong way, but I gotta say it. A lot of realtors have really bad hooks, and it's not their fault. It's not you guys' fault. I feel like if you're working with a videographer and they don't have a marketing background, they're not gonna be able to help you out either. But I'm gonna tell you this. First off, do you guys know what a hook is? Okay. Just to reiterate, just to restate it anyway, a hook is like those crucial first 3 seconds that someone sees your content. Like, what are you gonna do to hook their attention? That's what that is. So if you start your video with like, hi, my name is, or welcome to, I don't care how pretty you are, like people are gonna scroll past you. You know, it's just that what happens is there's something called habituation. It's a psychological phenomenon that happens. And it's like, you see the same thing over and over again, or you hear the same thing over and over again, your brain kind of starts to tune it out without you realizing it. And you'll just scroll right past it until you get to something that does get your attention. That's just how social media works these days. I mean, you gotta have a good hook to get people to stop scrolling. That's all we're trying to do, stop scrolling, deliver something relevant, and get them to convert, be like, hey, I wanna work with you. So don't start with, oh, I have a list, by the way. Like one of my long-term clients gets so annoyed by me because I keep adding to this list of things like, don't start your video with this, don't start your video with this, don't start your video with this. The newest one that's on this list that I didn't update the slide for is, here's what you can buy in Houston for $500,000. Here's what you can buy for, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You can give us an example of what a hook would sound like.
So a hook is gonna depend on the situation. Like, for example, when it comes to marketing, one of the things that I like to do is to target emotions. So if I wanted to target, for example, like for me, and I brought this up to a realtor, and we did use this hook for one of her videos. I told her, look, there's this thing that happens whenever people like find the right house. And it happened. I was telling her, like, for example, the house that I went to, garbage photos. It was my last resort. I was like almost desperate. But when I went in there, you get this feeling that's like, this is the one, like immediately, you know, even without seeing the rest of the house. And I asked her, I was like, is this something that's universal? Or like, is this just me? She's like, no, this happens to a lot of people. Like, as soon as they walk in, like, they just know this is it. So what I did as a hook is I mentioned that. I played on that emotion. And I was like, and I made it like kind of not dramatic, but just like I really had her say it a certain way and emphasize and enunciate the words in a certain way that got people to stop and like listen to what she's saying. And she said something along the lines of like, there's a feeling whenever you walk into a home and you know this is the one. That got people to stop and like they paid attention. It was what was her best post. You know, it did really well. That's an example of a good hook. Other examples could be personal results. So if you've done something, if you've accomplished something, one of my favorite things that blew me away when I first got started was seeing some realtors who were talking about how they brought their client to the closing table and the client got money back. And to me, as someone who never like even knew that was possible, like back then, I was blown away. I was like, wow, that can happen? Now, of course, I've seen it happen a lot now, like more often than I've been doing this. But for someone, like, again, you're trying to target, not me, you're trying to target like first-time homebuyers or people, just people trying to buy houses. And you tell them that, they're gonna be like, oh, dang, like you can do that? Like I wanna work with this person, you know, like I wanna get money back at the closing table. I don't have to go pay closing costs. That's a cool personal result. Sharing a compelling fact or some interesting statistics, you know, is a good way to get people's attention. Making a controversial, this is a risky one. Making a controversial or a bold statement, like something that's like goes against the grain. You don't wanna like, so kind of like what I did with one of my videos where I was just like making fun of, not making fun of, but honestly I was kind of clowning, you know, like the bad hooks. It gets people to stop. Not everybody's gonna like it, you know, but I got a lot of attention off that and I actually got clients off that video. So at the end is like, you know, you wanna be controversial without being abrasive and offensive, like don't say anything offensive, but you wanna get people to stop scrolling. That's a good way to do it. That's what the internet's kind of built off of, is controversy and hot takes and stuff like that. Another thing is like a quick how-to, value-driven content, teaching your audience how to do something that maybe they didn't know about, you know, real estate, or like the steps of like how a closing goes or whatever. Anything that can give them value, you want to do with a hook. Do y'all have any other questions about hooks? Okay. So this is about collaboration. Collaborating is really important because, and this, I mean, this is actually a multifaceted two-step thing, but you want to have a strong network. So you guys are with Waldina, the agency team. You already are in a good spot. So I'm sure you've got like preferred lenders and things like that. And so as long as you have a solid team of like adjacent industries that are supporting you and your clients throughout the transaction, that's so important. Because my realtor that I had for that first house, and I keep going back to the story, he was terrible. He was not great. I was sending him listings. I was wanting, like, I'm like, hey, I want to look at this house. I'm the one doing all the work. He was just kind of blowing me off. And then one of his showing agents tried to buy the house from out underneath me, like I think wholesale. And I got really pissed off and I ended up, luckily I got the house anyway. But the point is, he was bad. But what I remember was the lender that he used wasn't even in Houston. He was with Loan Depot out in Los Angeles. The guy didn't even live here. But this dude was amazing. Like, he was so good. I was a first-time home buyer, and I didn't have a W-2. I had a 1099, and I was super nervous. I'm like, man, like, this is so complicated. Like, how am I going to buy a house? My realtor did not explain anything to me. He's like, oh, yeah, just talk to the lender. Talk to the lender. He'll help you out. You know, like, he just kind of threw me off to him. The lender was amazing. But, like, imagine if it was reversed. Like, imagine if you're the rock star realtor, but you got a bad lender or you got a bad credit repair person or bad whoever, any weak link in that chain, first off, you don't want to be that weak link and you don't want to have any weak links. So if it was the other way around and we had like a poor, you know, loan guy and then like he cost you the deal and I don't get the house that I want, everybody leaves unhappy. You don't want that. Make sure you got a solid team. Oh, hire an awesome real estate photographer and videographer. I'm right here. Other thing that you can do, this helped me grow a lot, is collaborating on social media. So I feel like if you're going to do a post, and I do see you guys doing this. Actually, I've been paying attention, but keep it up. Whenever you post, collaborate with your brokerage. So like if you have your Instagram page, and then you have the agency team. All your posts, without any exception, should just be collabed on that page. Like, you're just doubling your exposure that way. And if you're able to collaborate with, I also do it with my clients. So If you want to collaborate with me, if we do a project together, you can collaborate on both pages. I think you can collaborate with up to 5 at a time per post. But the more you collab, the more you're multiplying the amount of views that you're going to get for that post or that reel, which is going to increase your chances of hopefully getting a potential lead. So yeah, collaboration, super important. Do y'all have any questions about collaborating? All right. Well, we're reaching the end here. Don't trust robots. I'm gonna tell you a story. I was working with a restaurant, and this restaurant was killing it. They were doing so well. I mean, they were doing great, and we were doing the social media for a while. They were blowing up, they're doing good. The owner got greedy, and he was like, I want to buy 200,000 followers. Or like 500, I forgot how much, like 500,000 followers. I'm like, don't do that. He's like, no, but I want to. He's like, I'm like, it's gonna kill your business, bro. Like, don't do it. He didn't listen. Sure enough, he did it, and he almost went out of business. Like, because what happens is, you gotta think about it. Instagram has they basically use ratios. So if you got, for example, let's use 100 followers as an example, and you got 20 of them constantly interacting with your content, you got a 20% engagement rate. But if you turn that number into like 100,000, and keep in mind, most of these bots don't interact, they don't do anything, they're just there, your ratio just dropped to like 0.0000002%. And essentially what ends up happening is your content gets suppressed into infinity. Like no one who's actually following you is probably ever gonna see your content again, even if you're posting every day. So don't fall for those bots, those people that keep DMing you like, hey, buy these followers, buy this. Stay away from that, okay? This is just like the last thing I wanted to mention. That's pretty much it. If you got any other questions about anything, feel free to let me know. If you want to follow me, there's my QR code. And yeah, I'm here for any questions. Y'all got anything to ask? All right, cool.
So,
Yes?
question.
Sure.
Okay, so I know in terms of investing in marketing and that
Yes.
is a necessity.
Yes.
What would be your suggestion in terms of if you are creating content videos?
Yeah.
And say, for example, I use CapCut.
Mhm.
What, and you wanted to have more of a professional HDR finish to it.
Yeah.
What are you suggesting to it? I mean,
So-
is that a good, like, how would you get that polished finish to it? Where you can't, like, if you're creating content every week, obviously you can't pay for something
Yeah.
to do that every week.
So I've had questions before, like, can I teach a class on like how to record, edit content and whatever, like as a realtor without like the professional tools and stuff. To answer your question though, I think what can be done even without a professional in-depth knowledge of like editing videos, I don't think the editing does matter, of course, and the quality does matter, but really, like, you'll see some of the most viral stuff is like low quality, like visual quality. But the most important thing is like being able to, if you niche down and you find your ideal client and you're trying to get, and you're messaging your content towards that client to get their attention, to give them some kind of benefit, to if they see like, hey, what's in it for me? And then they look at your content and they're like, oh, okay, that's what's in it for me. Then that's really more important. Is like, I keep telling people it's not really like necessarily the edits and like the cool transitions, and you know, I got crazy videos of like houses falling out of the sky or whatever. Like that stuff is cool and it's nice, but it's like it's not providing as much value as if like if I find somebody and I'm addressing their concern. And actually, you just reminded me, I did want to cover this story. I did a post the other day as an example, like just to see how it would do. Whenever I post, so again, this kind of goes back to habituation. You're a realtor, right? So you scroll through Instagram, you see houses all the time. Whether they're beautiful or ugly or not, like you're just constantly looking at houses. So even if I give you the most beautiful picture of a house, a lot of realtors will scroll past it too. If I don't put any context or anything about it onto the actual post itself, it gets scrolled past. So the other day, really quick and dirty, like I put this together in like 10 minutes. I won't call it an ugly like cover, but like it was a very basic and plain cover for the post. But what I put on there was something extremely relevant and impressive, I would say, to realtors. And it was something along the lines of like I put like, oh, the realtor is saying that the house has no electricity and they hired a stager, like a designer to stage the house, but they didn't finish designing one room. So she was freaking out and she's like, what do I do? So that's kind of what I put. Like I put that in a more condensed form, like on the main cover. Keep in mind that you can't see anything behind it. I blurred out the photo of the bedroom, so you couldn't even tell what was behind it. I just put that text there and I put my logo on top. That's all, okay? This post blew up. for not like it's not viral, but like it's compared to my other posts, it got way more likes, way more comments, way more attention, because what I ended up doing in that post is I stated a problem that many realtors will probably often face and kind of panic like, oh, I gotta, how am I gonna list this house? How am I gonna get photos done? How am I gonna, get this on the market if the electricity is not there, the room is not ready? What do I do? And this is a true story, I told the realtor, like, don't worry, I'll take care of it for you. I stepped in, I took the photos, and I showed like step by step, like here's what the room looked like with no electricity, Then here's like the next one. And again, I slapped this together in like 10 minutes, so it was not a polished looking post at all. But the next step shows like I restored power to the photos. Like it looked like the lights were on, it looked like everything was bright and nice, but the bed was missing a mattress. It was like, well, that's what the issue was. Like they didn't blow up the mattress. It was missing a mattress, and it had like a blow up mattress that was deflated on there. I'm like, don't worry, I'll fix it. So the next slide, I made it look like it was like a perfectly made bed. Like it looked so realistic. It looked like you had like the blanket on there and stuff. And then I just put like a few other like before and after photos of like the house. It blew up. Why? Because it's telling a story, a true story. It's we're targeting an issue, like a pain point. Anytime you get an objection in sales is an opportunity for you to like find a solution. And anytime you have an opportunity to find a solution or present a solution, you get people's attention. Like that's what people want. At the end of the day, people don't want photos, they don't want videos, they don't want any of this stuff. They want the end goal, which is how can this person solve my problem? I'm looking for a house, how can a realtor solve my problem? I'm looking for a loan, how can you solve my problem? So as long as you're making your content tailored towards your client, towards your audience, and you have something that's engaging and relevant to them, the video quality does matter. Honestly, the most important thing, if I have to tell you just from a technical perspective, the audio is more important. If you like use one of these mics, I actually have this exact mic set up, by the way. These are great. DJI mics. Use professional audio. It's way more important than video, because the moment I hear anything low quality audio, I'm scrolling, no matter what. Get a good mic, make your content relevant, and I think that's how I would go from it. You can edit in CapCut, it's okay. You don't got to overthink it too much. Maybe one day I will do like a whole full-blown course on how to shoot and edit, like a pro, and how to think like that. But for now, I would say like just keep your content relevant. That's really like the most important thing.
I have a question.
Sure.
We create content every Thursday here at the office.
Nice.
We go to different constructions. So what's your advice for agents that actually have not been exposed to video content?
So if they're just starting on video?
Yeah. Like if it's
Okay.
like the first,
I'll put this down.
the first video.
Their first rodeo. So I've actually I've had some brokers throw like a fresh agent that just got signed on right in front of the camera day one, and she was super nervous. You're gonna be nervous. The key, honestly, is to have whoever is behind the camera needs to be able to comfort you, hype you up, get you confident. It's really a lot of the camera operator needs to handle a lot of that, to be honest. I'm assuming that's you. You gotta get people comfortable on camera, and I feel like, again, that's another objection that I got, is like my video guy doesn't make me feel comfortable, doesn't like help me relax, and they look kind of annoyed or whatever. Everyone's always apologizing to me. I'll literally sit through like 30 takes without batting an eye, like it's normal to me. But then they're like, oh my God, thank you so much, you're so patient. And I'm like, dude, it's not a big deal. Like, you're new, it's okay. Like, it takes practice. Even me, this is my 4th class I've taught, and this is my 4th time public speaking. I still get scared, I still get nervous,
Yeah, you look nervous.
I'm feeling it, right? The worst thing you can tell somebody. Nah, I know, I'm messing with you. But it's normal to get nervous, and as long as you're being guided towards it, the number one thing I tell everybody actually is that you are your own biggest critic. We are all of us, we are our own biggest critic. I've had people point out concerns about their looks, about their voice, about whatever. I'm like, listen, look, at the end of the day, you got to realize only you are noticing these things. I didn't notice it. No one else is going to notice it. And you got to focus at the end objective, which is to promote yourself, promote your brand, get leads. Some people feel like it's unfortunate, but like, we are in that digital age where like we got to be in front of the camera. Realtors wear a lot of hats. Y'all got to be in front of the camera. It's going to take time to get comfortable, but I know some people, like, they've done it for so long, like at the drop of a hat, they're in the zone, like they're killing it on video, and it's like nothing to them. It's just going to take some practice, but just make sure you're comforting them.